Okay, cool. Right. I'm going to start a little bit earlier. I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction. There's a couple of people. It's nice to see some friendly faces. Dr. Chopra, it's good to see you. Long time no see. Chi, same. It's I've seen some new faces as well. So welcome to CosTech. I'm going to do a very quick introduction for people who don't know, who might not have used CosTech before. We're a dental laboratory that started in '77. So mum's dentist retired, dad's a dental technician, and they set up the lab in '77. I went off to do computer science at Brunel, and then came back in '03 while I was looking for a programming job. And dad, as it usually happens, can you help out in the lab? And it was in 2005, David and myself took the reins, and we started building and developing the lab into what it is now. So it's been an amazing ride. One of the big things that we changed in 2005 was we knew digital was on the horizon, and we spent a lot of time looking at how we could start incorporating it in. And now it's with everyone getting scanners in the surgery, it's really kicking off, and the new venture is now really taking off. So it's got to 1 o'clock. It's great to see. I mean, like 15 people. That's amazing. Thank you for giving up your lunchtime for joining us. And what we're going to be talking about today is the launch of Digi-Dentures. It's been in development for a little while. We as soon as we started doing crown and bridge work, and we could do everything more accurately and quicker and consistently, the next thing on everyone's mind was, when can you do dentures? And now finally we can. So today what we're going to be covering in this webinar is what are Digi-Dentures, what are the different types of workflows, how to tackle various different types of cases. Scanning strategies, very different. If you're already used to doing crown and bridge, there are a few nuances that you need to be aware of, which is different for when you're doing dentures. Scan checking is a little bit more involved. And then we'll go into tracking and feedback cases, and then we'll head into Q&As. If you have got any questions as I'm talking, we'll be sending them recording. Once it's all done, I'll be posting this on the website as well. So if you've got any questions as you're going along, I've got Ashok in the chat as well. So he'll answer any questions that he knows of. If not, I'll just revisit them at the end. And if I can just quickly, I can see them coming up. And if I can answer it there and then, I will. So what are Digi-Dentures? A lot of people have been asking this recently, saying, okay, sounds good. What are they? As I said, they've been in development since 21. It's we've had a few different kind of like versions of it, and then they came back, and we're very much taking the feedback of the clients to make sure that the product that we're actually putting out onto the market was good, consistent, and fit for purpose. So we had lots of pre-launches, we had a lot of pilots, and now we've got the finalized Digi-Denture, which is on the full rollout. Right from the beginning, the goal was to have a two-step denture, the same as crown and bridge. Patient comes in, you scan them. The second appointment, you fit it, and the patient walks away happy. Trying to get away from all of the stages, it becomes laborious. It introduces so many points of failure. The bite could be slightly wrong. Something could get damaged in the post. It's just using up chair time, which can be really used elsewhere. We spent a lot on the R&D in the development of this to make sure that we get it right. And we've explored nearly every system that's available out in globally. And with that, we've sourced the best affordable materials. It's on that scale of the price and quality, is finding one where it's good quality at a good price, because if the price point isn't good, especially when we're talking about economy dentures, it's a non-starter. So first of all, what are Digi-Dentures and how do they differ from the traditional dentures? So first of all, I'll go through Digi-Dentures of how they're manufactured. So first of all, we design each denture individually using latest CAD/CAM software using Exocad. Each individual tooth is designed specifically, and I'll come back onto this later on why it's so important. We actually mill our teeth. A lot of the digital dentures out there, you can use it's an SLA printed resin. Where we've actually tested this in the past, we found that there was quite a high level of erosion, occlusal wear within the first year, more so compared to traditional dentures. So what we did was we actually reverted back to our the traditional PMMA, what we use for the temporary dentures, and we milled them. And we found that the color stability is very good, and the erosion is, you can liken it like for traditional denture teeth. We're also using all the Vita shades. All the Vita shades are available. We've only got one bleach shade at the moment, but if someone wants a B-1, B0, then yeah, we might have to get in a special puck for that one. We're using Detax resin. We found this resin to be one of the best resins out there, where this is where the quality and the price point comes in well. The flexural strength of this material is very good, and also the color stability is very, very good. We didn't want, especially some materials, that if they come out any porous, then you start losing the vitality of the denture, and also it can start picking up smells and stains. We then surface stain it, and this is where we come into the various different types of teeth versions, going from economy, premium plus, and I'll explain in a moment how we actually use the technicians to make an amazing denture. So the first one we have is NHS. This uses the basic library. We have set libraries on the Exocad that we can actually pull in, and it's the same as when we have the tray of teeth that we use in the lab, and we choose the mold which fits the teeth as closely as we can. We use that, and then with the contouring, it's just on the gingiva, it's just basic, it's just smooth. It's a functional denture, and we just highly polish it. When we go through to the premium plus, we have the we go through to the teeth which has more translucency in it, and we add more contouring. And then when we go to the premium, that should say the premium plus side, the gingiva then has a lot more staining on it. When we use the premium and premium plus, we actually start custom designing each individual tooth a lot more. So for example, if the patient has lost the 1, 2, 3 on one side, we'll actually take the 1, 2, 3 of the opposing side and flip it. So then we actually have exactly the dentition that looks natural to the patient. Here we have the prices. Very simple. It's not graded by how many teeth are actually on the denture. We actually go by the if it's a partial or a full. So that answers one of the first questions. Can you do fulls in this? Yes, you can. So these are in your latest price list. It's shown in there. So what are the key benefits of the Digi-Denture? And it all comes down to fewer appointments and reduced chair time. By not having to have someone in for the first bite, then a try-in, and then maybe a retry, and then going through to a fit. All of that time can be used for getting more patients in through the chair, or just spending more time with your existing patients. Also, a lot of patients, they don't want to be giving up a lot of time to keep visiting. As much as they love you guys, I'm sure they want as fewer appointments as possible. When word gets out that they can get a denture quicker, word spreads. We do get an enhanced precision fit, being that this can only be done through a CAD, through an intraoral scanner. We get to pick up a lot more definition. We get to actually recreate exactly in the lab what it is. When we have the dentures, we all know alginate can warp, pouring up, there's an error there. There's so many points of failure. This negates everything. Superior aesthetics, again, each individual tooth, we can recreate a smile. For if a patient comes in and says, here's my picture from when I was married and I had this type of shaped teeth, I want to have that back. We can actually use that as a reference to actually recreate the smile. This is available on the Premium Plus side. Duplication and replacement, it's a file. It's the same as when you create a file on the computer. We can send it to print again. If a patient says, you know what, I want the Premium Plus one, but I want to back up, I'm going skydiving just in case I do lose it or something, we can just do an NHS one and you can use that as a spare. It's also within the surgery. It makes a good selling point that they do have a backup plan. If something does happen to it, you can say, look, we've got a file, we can just do it again. Same as if you've got patients in care homes. One of our biggest source of copy dentures is basically they collect them all together, put it in one bucket to clean them, and then they're like, well, now someone else has got Mrs. Johnson's teeth. So if we actually have the file there, you can call us up and then say, you've got the file, can you just reprint it? All the files will be keeping them for a year. After a year, we generally say you might have to start again because there could be even more change that's happened in the mouth, in the morphology, etc. There's better comfort and function because the other things we are able to do is you're able to take their patient's existing denture and scan that. And I'll come into this. It's called scanning a reference denture. So we can duplicate what they have already. If they're very happy with the actual occlusal table and they don't want anything else to change, it just doesn't look that great, you can take that and we can recreate it as a binary copy and then make it even better. Better bites. With the scanning technology that we have, there's multiple ways that you can actually get the bite more accurate. If they don't have a stable bite, you can use the denture, which I'll go into in a minute, as one of the workflows. With the different types, patient education is one thing that we're going to be pushing a lot heavier on, and this is going to be something that's going to be available to everyone in the Costech shop very soon. So this is a plate which we're manufacturing, and you'll buy it at cost price, being a Costech client, and you can actually visually show the patients exactly what the difference is. You don't have to upsell to a patient. You can give the patient choice. You can say, yes, this is your NHS, you can have the economy one. If you go independent, if you go private, these are the different scales that you have, and these are the different options that you have. It's an amazing selling tool. When we've actually tried it out with our pilot test group, they did see a significant upsell. People generally always go for the middle range. If they're in the economy side, they'll go up one level. If they're already on the independent side, they push up onto the premium side. Again, mix and match. If they say, yep, I want to copy, give me a Premium Plus and an economy, we can do them both at the same time. So how do you scan for Digi-Dentures? A lot of people I know they're already very big users on the Crown and Bridge side. Scanning for Digi-Dentures is there's a few nuances that you need to be aware of. The first thing is various different scanning systems have already predefined workflows. I know 3Shape, Itero, Medit, they all have options that you're scanning for a denture. If there's ones that don't have it and you're not sure, email the info at Costech or digital at Costech and say, this is my scanner. Can you give me any pointers? But what we're going to be going through, you can actually take like for like. There will be the options somewhere in your scanning system. Practicing the optimal scanning pathways. You already have one. If people are doing Crown and Bridge, you already have the scanning pathway. Very, very similar. You don't have to do anything too much different. The main thing is getting down to the sulcus, whereas with Crown and Bridge, we don't need it. Getting down as far as we can on the sulcus is imperative. The biggest source of QC fail on the scans coming in is because we don't have enough depth, or we don't have enough of the palate all the way back to the soft tissue. And then also I'm going to show you a few things on what you can do to review your scans before the lab, because this is exactly the same checkpoints that we use in the lab. If you know what we're looking for, you can actually go through that as well. So if you've got an edentulous patient, this is one of the optimal scanning pathways you can do. The main thing is when you're scanning is that, and when you're scanning soft tissue, you lose the reference points that you do. So if they've got one standing tooth, the scanning system will actually use that as the reference point. When you're soft tissue, a bit of saliva can go in and suddenly mess up the reference points. So what we found is basically taking from the post-tuberosity, going from point 1 all the way around mesially and then distally again, and then the palate, this is on the maxilla. That gives you your first reference point. You can take the ridges. You then go over back and taking the buccal surfaces. Pretty similar when you're working on the mandible. The flip over point, so you can see from it's going from point 1 to point 2. That flip over point is because it's making sure it's called stitching. It's where it's taking one plane and another and knowing where to match it. That point between 2 and 3 becomes the most, and the anterior region becomes the main point. If you're scanning and it loses where it is, that becomes your reference. Just go straight back, and it's easier to access than keep having to go back. It's more comfortable for the patient. Just going back, if you've got patients with existing teeth, you can pretty much scan the same way as you do with a crown and bridge. We have got that on the website as well. It's got a few scanning tips, but what works for you, as long as you're getting good detail, that's all we need. One of the big things is a reference denture. So why do we use a reference denture? If a patient doesn't have a stable occlusion and you can't recreate the bite, you can actually use their existing denture essentially as a working bite block. But what we need is, so you'll scan the upper and lower without the denture. You will then take the denture and then follow these steps and scan the entire denture, top and bottom. The most important point is when you're actually, get my denture here, if it comes off, it's a good fit. So when you're scanning and you're scanning the fit surface and then you're actually coming over the apex, you need to make sure that you've got a good solid scan, because again, you might end up with stitching errors where it's trying to take that plane and stitch it together. So this is where it's got on the second icon there. It shows you how important it is to get a good reference point there. If the scanner gets lost, you go back right onto that peak there. So what happens is when you've got that, you then put the denture back in the patient's mouth and get them to bite, and then you do the actual bite scan using that. We take the various different scans, and in ExoCAD we can recreate the bite. If the denture is so worn out that you have to raise it up, you can use a little bit of ribbon wax. You can build up the wax. You just leave that on the denture when you scan it as well. It's exactly the same. The computer can pick it all up. So a lot of people, one of the most frequent asked questions is like, well, where do I start? And I kind of like say, well, let's build it up in layers. What sort of cases should you take on first? It's always a case of the easiest one to do is a patient with a good stable bite. A stable bite is someone who can recreate the bite over and over again very accurately. So you scan the upper and lower and scan the bite. A little tip, something I've learned recently, if this definitely happens with 3Shape, a couple of the other systems, is that when you're scanning and it registers the bite, it gives off a little jingle, a little chime to say, yeah, I found the bite. Ignore that and just carry on going. When you're scanning the bite, start distally and go as far easily as you can, and then on the other side, distally and back. Even if it says, yep, I've got the bite, it is always better to give a little bit more information. The main reason is if for crown and bridge, usually it works fine because you can work on a quadrant. When you're working with the denture, you want to make sure that it's not tilted. Sometimes what we experienced is we end up with open anterior bites. It's because where it thinks the bite is actually slightly incorrect. And if it actually carried on the bite more easily, it would actually get a better registration. So with a stable bite, same with any bites that you're taking, take as much as you can. It doesn't matter if you take basically the entire arch. So level one, I always take it, a good stable bite, and we can take, you don't need to use a reference scan. It's just patient, maybe it's their first denture, scan it, take the bite. That's everything we need. Again, make sure you've got enough of the sulcus, and which I'll show you again later on. So level two is basically a partial with a non-stable bite with a reference denture. So then you take this on, you scan the upper and lower, and you then scan the denture, as I explained before, and then the bite with it. So that becomes your bite block stage, which you do all at the same time. We have got all this in details. Ashok, can you send the link in the chat to your latest blog post? It's got the step-by-step guides, or it's got the breakdown of all of these levels as well. It's a very good reference. The next one is a full arch. So basically an edentulous patient, either upper and lower, or you're just replacing one of them, scanning the edentulous arch and then scanning the denture, and then scanning it with the denture in place. If you have a edentulous patient with, they have a denture, but you need to do a reline. Do a chair side reline just with putty, wash or something, and put it in the denture, and then afterwards just clean it up and scan it with that. It gives us, when we're taking the denture on the computer, when we're taking the denture and then the actual scan of the soft tissue, it matches a lot better. If you've got somebody who it's got a very ill-fitting denture, definitely take a wash in it first. It just means that the matchup is even more accurate. The level 4, which is basically the final boss, is a full denture with absolutely no reference denture whatsoever. It's very rare that patients actually got to this point that they don't have a denture, but you will encounter it at some point. If you have that case, you just take a soft tissue and weed, then you've got sent to the lab, and this is where the 2 appointments does become free, because we have to create the bite block. But where we can speed things up is that we make the bite block. If you tell us it's for a Digi-Denture bite block, we'll turn it around very quickly. We'll send you the bite block, and you do the bite blocks the same as you traditionally would. You put your center lines, canine lines on. We would need the lip lines, smile lines, and then you scan that as if it was a reference denture. Once that comes through, so you don't need to send the bite block back to us, because now we have the scan. That's all we need. And then we actually take that to then design the denture. So when you've done your scan and you're about to send it to the lab, these are the main 5 things that we're looking for. The first thing is scan completeness. Data holes, with Crown and Bridge, you can get away with a certain amount of data holes because it might not be in a relevant area. But with dentures, it's, especially incidentally, it's very imperative that we have a good scan there. Sulcus as well. Artifacts, we call them artifacts. This is where the tongue accidentally gets in the view, and the system has accidentally attached a bit of the tongue onto the palate or the teeth or something. Just be aware of it. Tricks that various people I know, they're using the thick lollipop sticks, mirror as well, just to hold the tissue as you're scanning, keeping the cheek retracted. So just have a look for artifacts. You can chairside, usually with all the systems, you can usually highlight it and delete it. If it's accidentally attached the artifact to the patient's dentition or the soft tissue, you might have to delete it and rescan just that area. Stitching areas, I'll go into a little bit more detail on how to spot these and why they occur. But this is one of the second most common reason why we have to reject scans. Sulcus and palate coverage, imperative. We've got to get, we generally don't do clasps. We don't rely on clasps because we have the scan, and when we're designing, we can actually see what level of undercut we might have to play with when we're actually creating a denture. We can add clasps afterwards, but generally we find with Digi-Dentures, because we can engage undercuts to a certain level, we can make sure a good fit. But with that, making sure that we've got enough depth as well is imperative. The bite accuracy, again, like I was saying before, making sure you scan the entire bite. Sometimes the patient, when they've been in the chair, if they've been lying back in the chair, sometimes they actually record an improper bite. A lot of systems, you can actually scan just the bite. So when the patient first walks in and you're like, right, I know I'm scanning for a denture. While they're still standing, just get them sitting up in a chair and just scan the bite. You don't even have to attach it to the final job that you're going to be scanning. You can actually just send that as a supplementary scan, and then in the lab, we can use that as our reference to make sure that the second one that you've done actually matches up. Failing that, we might print them out and hand occlude them and then go the old technician way and say, right, let's just check if that's right. But what we found is if you review the scans and you don't see any open anterior bites, then you're absolutely fine. Data holes, this is what I was saying about getting the making sure the completeness of the denture. You might see this coming through. If you're sorting crown and bridge and you're doing something on the other side, you'll just ignore these and say, yeah, it's fine. But these areas where we're designing the denture, we make sure that we get as interdental as we can. We can make sure we get right into the collets. And again, that actually helps with the retention. Stitching errors. So again, this is the way to explain it is if you've got two pieces of paper, the computer, and you said to the computer, right, put the edge to edge, the plane sometimes can actually end up kind of like slicing through each other or being open. Getting right on the occlusal table, if they have got teeth, especially on the incisors, make sure that you've got a very good scan. So when you're scanning the flat surfaces, it knows exactly where to do it. The other thing that happens is when you're going from the postal area, from the distal to an anterior area, it can sometimes drift. So you'll get one which will go forward and one will go there, and then it's not actually matching up there. Whereas if you've got a good, reliable scan all the way across, as you go through, it will make sure that it stitches it properly. Stitching usually it kind of looks like it'll come out as a grayish line. Sometimes it will look like it's actually gone through each other. If that happens, it's actually better to maybe go back and rescan. If it's just in one area, delete just that area. But if it's in the majority of the anterior region, it's best to actually rescan because there's a high chance that drifting has happened during the scan, which will then give us an improper scan to work on. Lack of tissue. So this is an example of a scan. So it kind of looks good, but all of these small holes, we can't recreate that on our system. We need it as soon as the sulcus starts rising up again. We need as much as that. If you do have patients that can't really tolerate, this is where you've got to get to know your actual intraoral scanner very well. Some of the systems out there which have got large scanning heads, you might not be able to get in there. This is where trial it out with your patients, work out what's best. Some of the ones where they have got bigger heads, they've actually got a better depth of field, so you don't actually need to get as far down. The best thing to do is try it out for a few patients. When you get to know how your system works and what cases do and don't work for it, if you've got a very petite patient, it might be a case of they won't tolerate their soft tissue being moved that much to get the depth. If that's the case, we might not have an option, but only to go down the traditional workflow and special tray. But these are edge cases. But as you do more and more cases, you will actually work out ways to actually use your scanner to its optimal. So a few of the FAQs that have come, so during the pilot, we had quite a few things. Copy dentures, are they possible? Yes. We're going to be keeping the files on our server, and you will, if everything was fine the first time, you can call us up afterwards and say, yeah, can we have a copy of it? It fit fine, go. Or you can say, no, when you're doing the first one, can you just make 2 copies, one of this one, like one premium plus one economy? Can they be repaired, relined, and added to? Yes. Essentially, the material is the same as acrylic. So I haven't got it on here, but people have been asking, can you use it for people with monomer allergies? Unfortunately not. It's still an acrylic. It doesn't have monomer in it. There's no free monomer in this at all, in the base resin, but there is in the bonding agent between the acrylic teeth and the resin. So people with acrylic allergies and monomer allergies, you're still going to have the same as traditional dentures. Can they be relined? Exactly the same way. And can they be added to? Yes. When we add to them, we do use just the stock teeth that we have. If you need to add a premium or premium plus to an existing denture, let us know that it is a premium plus Digi-Denture. We'll bring up the original files and then we'll mill the teeth that will then get added to it. And when it comes in, all the characterization and staining will then be replicated. Clasps can be incorporated. If you want it from the outset, because of any reason, we'll actually check it in the lab on the models. Everything we do does come with a model to actually check it down on. But what we'll do is if we think that the fit is fine, we can do away without a clasp. If the patient has absolutely no undercuts, we'll actually automatically add a clasp if we need to. The preferred workflows, if on the website, Ash will put it on there, it's got basically the different workflows, the 4 different levels, and that's going to cover the majority of the cases that you're going to work with. If you're approaching your first case and you want a little bit more guidance, by all means, email the lab, say, right, I've got this patient in, I'll see if I can get hold of a technician to actually help you through on the first walkthrough. The big thing with the workflows is knowing what sort of case you have and the steps you've got. Just have it there, so when the patient comes in, it feels a little bit more natural. Can we do conflexins digitally? Conflexins are still made using traditional workflow, using injectable nylon material, but you can send it from the scan. So scan as you would any case, and then we automatically make it in the traditional way. Approving designs before manufacture, yes. Because we are missing a stage on the try, and the patient doesn't necessarily get to see how they're going to look, how it's going to feel, how it's so on the premium and premium plus side, we can actually put a stage in there where it's a virtual appointment. What we do is we'll design the full denture and then we'll send you a web link, and it will show you the STL, the 3D model on the screen of how the teeth look. If the patient says, oh, I want to try it for the final thing, if they definitely want to go down that route, you have to go down the traditional route. But if they're okay with just visually saying, okay, yep, I'm happy with the way those teeth look. We do have a new feature. You guys are one of the first to hear about this. That is going to be coming out soon. If you take a picture of the patient, just face on, we can superimpose the denture, the final denture in their mouth, and then using the glorious realms of AI, we can actually have them talking on the video so they can see exactly how it looks as they're talking, and they can actually do a virtual try-in. So if you do want to approve a design, make sure you put it on the prescription form, on your scanning prescription form, right at the beginning, because once it goes into manufacture, it's very difficult to stop the workflow, because as soon as the design happens, some parts of that denture have already gone from manufacture. Once it's started the manufacture process, we can't stop it and change it. So tell us right at the beginning, do this, send us the digital try-in, or I want to approve the design, and we'll put a stop in it. And then once we get it back, we'll then give you the date of when we can actually get it back for. So if the patient doesn't get back to you for a week, we still need a certain amount of manufacture time, but our admin team will let you know about that. More information, keep an eye on the COSTECH website. So as well as the video, this video, any other webinars that we're going to be doing, and any of the blog posts that are going out, they're all going to be on the new website. Make sure as well that you are on the portal. There will be a lot more information coming through on the portal, which is restricted just to Costech customers. This is because you don't have the docket. Usually we have this on the docket, but being mindful of this is all the information that we need when you're sending a digital RX, making sure that we have all of that information. We can't necessarily start until we have that information, and this is one of the biggest causes of delays, is because we have to call up for shade or if there's a missing standard. So helpful, just make a note of that and give it to your team and say, before something gets sent through to us, make sure that we have all of the information. You can track the cases through the portal. Looking at a lot of the people in the room, nice to see you already on the portal. People who aren't on, get on there. You can actually track it on there. We have got new features where you will actually be able to do the virtual, see the files and do the check the cases before manufacture from within the portal, but that's coming up soon. So make sure you're on there, and then if there's any more information, there's going to be a lot of the more information, education material that we come out with is actually going to be on the portal rather than on the main website. And the biggest thing is feedback. This is a reasonably new product. It's already been out in the market. I think at the moment I think we're running up to about the 500 mark on the number of Digi-Dentures that we've actually made. So we're now ready to actually push it out, but we need as much feedback, and you can do this from within the portal itself, good or bad, because also it's not just when things go wrong. If it fits and the patient absolutely is static, let us know, because then we can actually go through and go back to the technicians who are doing things well, find out what they're doing and re-educate. So we do have the feedback loop. We do it for DAMAS and ISO. Very important, but also we'd like to take it within the Leberkäisen approach, where basically any small changes should be lots and lots of small improvements means a big gain overall. So a standard feedback loop. Let us know what happened. People sometimes say, oh yeah, by putting it, nothing happens. Ashok, who is our compliance director, every single piece of feedback that gets put through on the portal gets read and logged and acted upon. So even if you don't hear something back immediately, rest assured that we are working on it. But where this is a new product and we want to keep developing it, if feedback from patients, from yourselves, how well it went, if something went wrong, if you found tips and tricks that you found that worked very well, all of that is greatly appreciated. The team, a lot of people, because we're in the lab and you never get to see us, I thought I'd just introduce a few of the team. So these are the main people that you'll probably be dealing with on the phone. So on the digital team, we've got Jigger, Johnny and Charlie, part of the digital team. They are looking after for when scans come through, checking the scans that everything's okay. If there's anything wrong, it will probably be one of these guys that call you up and work out either workarounds or what we can do next. We have Anthony and Richard. So Anthony's on the premium and premium plus side, Richard on the economy side. So they look after the teams. And again, so this is where the feedback comes in. If the quality changes or you see something change, these are the guys that we feed all of your feedback to. On the admin team, a lot of you would have spoken to these girls, Saffron, Sophie and Joanna. Usually any main points of communication comes through them. It's nice to put faces to names. We've got Ashok as well, Compliance Director, and Sanjita, who's in charge of our procedures and policies. I wanted to introduce them because as part of a lab, as we carry on advancing, we've got to make sure that we're doing it in a structured way. And these guys make sure they're always moving in the right direction. Here's a few more of the team. It's not everybody, but a few faces that hopefully you'll recognize. And right now, yeah, thank you very much. Q&As. Ashok, is there anything you need me to talk about just going through? Added an, yep. adjusting dentures, same traditional denture. There is one thing, if you're adjusting it chair side, one of the feedbacks is when you're adjusting it nice and smooth, it doesn't flake. If anyone's using flexi dentures, it's not like flexi, it doesn't fray. But one thing you will find is because it's a resin rather than acrylic, it does come up with a finer dust. Whereas with acrylic, you get the flakes coming off. This does come off as more of a powder. It doesn't flake as much. So just be mindful the first time you actually take a burr to a denture to adjust it. Yeah, so when you're adjusting it, just be mindful. It might produce a bit of dust. You know how to manage that in the lab, but it's first time people adjust it, they get a little bit shocked that it's very different. Oh, the LaRusso intraoral retractors. I've seen them. I've never actually tried one. I like it. It can work. I'd love to hear some feedback on how people find it. I've seen it in theory, but never seen it in practice. So if anybody has got any feedback, throw it in the chat because I'd love to know about that. Yeah, so premium plus cases, if you say, right, we've got a Digi-Denture, put it in there. If you let us know that a case will be coming in, you can forewarn us because we can actually start designing it way before the actual Digi-Denture gets back to us by post. Some people, some of the feedback, dentists is basically saying if they need an addition, what they're actually saying is going, the denture is fine. Can we use this same design as the previous one as a new one? Send that back as a new one. The old one they keep as a spare and they send that in and we just put a stock tooth on it. Chrome dentures, no, unfortunately. So with chrome dentures, you can't bond it onto it. It has to go through a traditional, that's for the acrylic. It has to be molded as normal mold. It has to be flasked and packed. However, if you want to scan for chrome, yes, definitely. We've been doing these for a few years now. Scan for chrome, the fits come out absolutely fantastic. What we generally find is that the chromes that's come from a scan, because we can engage various undercuts, comes out even better, but then it does have to follow a traditional workflow after that point. Fantastic. So if the patient is very unhappy with the appearance, even after the virtual try-in, a new denture would have to be made. So from the 500 that we've had, touch wood, we've not actually had anyone who's not been happy with it, but there will be. I can't say it will never happen. Generally, if that happens, yes, it is chargeable. This is one of the downsides of the system, which is why we're trying to manage the patient's expectations alongside the benefits of having as a two-step solution. So generally, if a patient is very specific, anything in the anterior region, and you want us to spend a little bit more time, put it in the notes. You could put a few notes in it saying patient wants something very specific. Put it in the notes. If we're not sure and we think, you know what, it's so specific, let's go for a virtual try-in, we'll call you up and say, right, let's get this right the first time. The team will work with you at each stage. But yeah, if the patient definitely does want a try-in and they're used to their process, perhaps, then yeah, it will have to stick to the traditional workflow. There was one point that was on a previous one I did. They said the cost benefit of it. General rule of thumb is I think we worked it out, it's 1.4 appointments per denture. So however much an appointment time is, times that by the amount of money that you actually make, times it by 1.4. That's the amount of money saving that you can actually potentially make moving onto a system like this. For us, it's been in development for many years, and it's been a dream to have a two-step solution. Now it's come round, and we're getting amazing results. So cool. Well, thank you very much. Last chance, any more questions? And I'll let you go in peace and enjoy the rest of your lunch. No? Okay. Well, cool there. Thank you very much for joining us. There will be a few more webinars coming on, and keep an eye on the e-shots that come through every Wednesday and in the literature we send. And what we'll do is we'll keep this going. I will be doing another one at another point, which is going to be a lot more in-depth just on scanning strategies. So if anybody's quite new to scanning, there will be another one where it's just dedicated, just that. And if you'd like any other courses on anything specific, email me, email info@costech, digital@costech, and just say, I'd love a course on this. We'll put it in the line, and we'll get these rolling out. That's fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy your day.